So one of the things that I was upset that I forgot to talk about last time, which is going to be a huge debit for you, and I got to give the backstory. So your best friend, my early years, was Big Ed Johnson,
Yes.
and by even today's standard, he was a physical specimen, right? Played for the Bears.
Yeah, he was actually on the Bears taxi squad when I met him, and we were living in these apartments. And so I was coming home one day, and I saw this dude with his head down in the trunk of a Pontiac Firebird, one of those little Pontiacs. And
which doesn't fit his size.
Right, he had this big old ass, big old haunches, legs, and waistline was about this big. And so it looked like a big elephant tusk hanging out the car. So I stopped and blew the horn, and I said, "Hey, how you get your big ass in that little car?" So then when he stood up, and I saw how big he was, and how well built he was, I thought, I got to grin a little wider. So he'll know that I'm just saying, "Hey, what's up?"
Hey,
right?
hey, friend.
So he stood up and had this big grin on his face. So we said where we lived, and so we said, well, let's visit back and forth. So we started being best friends, and we were like bosom buddies for years.
Yeah, and this is why it's a problem.
You're right. Well, I know where you're headed with this.
You don't know where I'm headed. What you trying to read my mind?
No, but I can see if I look back on the history,
right.
There was some times where
you essentially rented me out because the Cheryl didn't have any kids.
Correct.
So you rented me out. I was like his little toy.
Correct.
So he would like carry me around by my pamper like I was his suitcase.
He'd hold you up just like this by your pamper.
or press me up against the ceiling.
Or sometimes he would put you up against the ceiling.
And then the one that traumatized me though was the stomach claw, where
right.
he
But I gotta say, like when he would say, "Lay down here on my lap."
Well, I thought that he was coercing me to run, and I didn't know until high school that I was just going over there.
He had mentally deranged you to where he would say, "Look, I want to give you the stomach claw," so you would go lay on his lap on your back, pull your shirt up, so he could give you the stomach claw.
Something that terrified me.
Yes.
But you know what? I've always been an obedient kid.
I know it. and so, and then like he would do, like,
yeah.
And you would be waiting for him to finally do the claw. And then once he would do it, you would just giggle and laugh. And then he would do this thing about measuring your head all the time.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
So he would come over.
And say, put your head in my hand.
And he would say, put your head here so I can measure it. So you would put your head between his hands.
Right.
And then he said, okay, pick your head up. So then when you pick your head up, he would do his hands out like this. And he would say, look how big his head is. And you would fall for it every time.
Yeah. So here's where the debit comes from. I don't know if a lot of my friends know, but I almost checked out when I was 4. Here's
what happened. You're kind of right. Your appendix burst.
Yes.
So you had, I can't think of the name of it now, but when I came...
Sepsis or something? Or?
No, I think of it. We came home from school, and you were just laying around, and you said, my appendix hurt, my stomach hurt.
Right.
So I felt your stomach over here. I said, does it hurt there? Because somebody told me if it's appendix, see if it hurts on all sides. So no matter where I tested you said it hurt. Right. So I said, well, maybe he's just got a stomach flu or something. So you stayed home from school that day, and when I came in from work the second day, you looked like you were dead almost. So I said, whoa, we better get this boy to the hospital.
Right.
So, because at that time I still thought you might make the pros.
So you cared.
Right. So I was protecting my investment.
Just smart, very smart.
So we hustled to the hospital, and sure enough, and it's not appendicitis. It's something about when your appendix bursts and you get this.
All the poisons are in your body.
You start getting the poison, and there's a name for it. I'm having a senior moment here. Anyway, so the doctor, he came out, he said he's in pretty serious condition because he's got this something, and he said, but there's a 50-50 chance that he'll be okay.
So at least he said be okay instead of 50-50 chance he's gonna die.
Right. So
that's a positive doc. I like this guy.
So when I walked in the room, you had all these tubes in you and had this nose thing. And I said, you know, parents got a big responsibility because you got to make the right call when it's time to take the kid to the hospital.
Right.
Because you just don't take him to the hospital
all the time. Anytime he says
correct
that he's got an issue. Right.
Correct. So it was a bad call to let you stay home that day. And so Ed comes over.
Yeah.
And you're laying in that little bed. You got tubes all throughout your nose.
Clinging to life.
Clinging to life. And Ed said, you know, I've been riding your tricycle.
Yeah, my little tricycle. And I remember the feeling of he broke my tricycle because he's too big. I remember that feeling, but I don't remember what I said.
You said,
that. I don't remember saying it.
You said, Ed, I don't want you riding my tricycle. He says, I'm riding your tricycle all around the neighborhood. And he said, I'm just making it go fast as I can make it go. So you just lay
I'm
there,
in a tricycle.
Right. So you just lay there like, Dad, don't let him drive my tricycle. And my mama was there.
Yeah.
If you remember.
Oh, because she was mad.
She was mad with Ed.
Yeah.
She said, Ed, why would you come and do something like that? Ed said, because I'm riding this tricycle. And so when Ed left, you looked over and you said, I don't want Ed coming to visit me anymore.
Right. That should be a double debit. That's a double. Letting him pick on me like that.
Well, it wasn't letting you pick on him, but I was trying to develop your thought skills.
Yeah, right.
Because you should have said, there is no way that someone that's 6'4", 240 pounds could be riding my tricycle.
Look, man, I had tubes. I was probably all drugged up. How am I going to have that kind of cognitive skills?
I'm just saying, I gave you a chance.
Right.
To have it.
Right. And you know what's funny is, you know, at the end of his life, and I knew he was in the hospital, and he went too fast for me to come visit him, but I so wanted to go to the hospital and say, hey man, I took your car and I drove it all over the place.
That would have been
I was so bummed I didn't get a chance to do that.
That would have been righteous.
Yeah, that's karma.
That's right. You should have paid him back.
I was going to pay him back.
In fact, you should have waved the keys in his face. You know, like,
right.
Yeah, these your keys.
Right.
Remember, like 50 years ago?
Yeah.
When I was in the hospital and you rode my tricycle.
A little 4-year-old.
I'm driving your
car all over town.
And I'm going to leave it empty on gas. So you got to fill it up if you ever get out of the hospital.
Right. Tell them about the last time you guys got to hang.
Oh, well, you know, we had started going down to Cancun together with our timeshare at Christmas. So,
you mean the Christmas timeshare that you've never invited your kids to? That you've owned since that timeshare?
Well, we've only owned it 20 years.
You still got time, okay.
Right.
All right, back to the trip. All right.
All right. I mean, we've only owned it 20 it's only been 20 years.
Why am I so impatient?
You
gotta
learn to chill out.
I gotta chill.
The invitation might be coming.
So
anyway, we've been going down to Cancun. So this time we went down like 2 years, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago. And as soon the first day we got there, Cheryl comes running in, said, you know, he's leaking blood. So we didn't want him to go in the hospital in Mexico. We got him on the plane and flew him back to Chicago. And it was like the first day we had just gotten there. And he was going to spend the winter with us down here because the cold was starting to affect him when you have all that cancer therapy. So when we got back to the States, Cheryl Lynn called me and said, the doctor said, if you want to see him alive, you got to get there. So it was like 5 degrees below zero in Georgia.
Woo! Yeah, I remember those.
And I haven't been up north for like 15 years. And the only thing that could get me up north was somebody I know is dying that I like.
Right.
And being my best friend, I got me a ticket. And
you probably didn't have did you have a winter coat? I mean, a coat for Chicago.
I've kept one winter coat.
But Chicago winter coat, I mean.
I kept one winter coat.
All right, because there's a difference.
Yeah, so I have one winter coat in case I ever have to come north. So when I got off the plane, you know how they open the door?
Yeah.
So you walk the jetway?
Yeah.
I hadn't felt cold like that. You remember how James Brown used to like walk with that cape at the end?
Yeah.
As soon as I hit the jetway, I started walking crying, you know, tears coming down my face. I was waiting. I would do like this, and the steward was running, put the coat jacket on me again, and I would take a few steps, then throw the jacket out the run, because I hadn't felt that kind of cold in years.
I bet.
So I get to the hospital, and it is obvious that he's gone downhill. So when I walk in the room, he didn't know I was coming.
Oh, okay.
And he was like weak looking, and I'm thinking,
That
man,
big, strong dude.
All my life, you know, he's been so big and strong, and here the cancer was just bringing him down. So they had thought they had gotten it under control, and that he could come home. So I said to Cheryl, I said, I'll bring him home. So Cheryl said, no, you can't do this. So Toby had to remind her that I took my mom and dad on vacation when they were in wheelchairs. So I'm very capable of bringing it home.
Right.
So she went on home.
And worried to death the whole time, I'm sure.
So when they keep you in a wheelchair till you get to the edge of the property.
Right.
And then you're in charge. Right. So they put Ed in the car, and I looked at him. I said, Ed, you want to go get some White Castles? He said, yeah. I said, well, then after we get these White Castles, let's go down to the casino and play some slots. He said, yeah, let's do that. So I took him to the casino. I took him to get some White Castles. We ate White Castles, then we went down to the casino and played slot machines.
Oh, and I'm sure Cheryl wasn't happy about that.
Yeah, she wasn't really happy about it. But he was.
Oh yeah. He had a fun day before his last day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And